Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your trusted weather source, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. Let's go see what we're tracking here for today as we've got a bit of a complicated flow that's kind of evolving across the country. A little like pinch off little upper lows that are kind of establishing themselves all over the place. That's going to make the forecast a little bit tricky as we get a little bit later in the month, and I'll show you that here in just a second. We do have a pocket of severe weather we're going to watch as we got a little cold pour coming down into the south. Could ignite some isolated severe thunderstorms as we go into Thursday and Friday. We'll show you that on the latest Day 2 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And then we'll also talk about the eastern portion of the United States as it looks like we may have more than just one cold shot coming down here over the next couple of weeks. Now, before we get going into this report, first I want to say thank you to any new subscribers out there. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, what you waiting for, my friend? Please hit that subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner. Hit the notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, if you appreciate the support, please leave a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. All right, let's go take a look at the big picture here, the satellite imagery. Not looking too bad. A little weak system here in the middle of the country, jumping up some rains there. We'll take a look at that, but very quiet up the eastern seaboard here. Got a little disturbance here off the west coast that'll be tracking in here over the next few days, but overall not looking too bad here across the nation. Looking at the watches and warnings, of course, we've got some cold temperatures here in the east to begin our Wednesday. These will kind of let up there. Red flag warnings here in the middle of the country. And obviously, all that water, all that heavy rain has caused a lot of tributaries here in the Mississippi River Valley area to be flooding. And hopefully those levels will continue to drop as we do have some fairly dry weather over the next 10 days. I'll show you that here in just a second. Now, looking at the big picture, we do have a little bit of snow here coming across the Great Lakes with some of this cold air up that way against some rains here in the middle of the country. Pretty quiet up down the eastern seaboard thanks to high pressure here, and not bad out in the west as well. See a lot of highs being represented out here as well. Let's go take a look at some of this rainfall here toward the middle of the country near Quincy. Seeing a little Quincy, Missouri, getting a little bit of rain here. Nice little downpour here, but really not looking too bad here. This should quickly move on off here as we go throughout the day. Now let's go take a look at the latest from the Storms Prediction Center. This is probably the one change that happened from yesterday to today's as we're kind of watching this kind of deepening trough here across the eastern portion of the United States. So the day one outlook here for today, not looking bad as you're seeing just that general thunderstorm threat here across portions of the high plains, stretching back into the Ohio River Valley. Nothing too widespread there for your day one. Now, where we see the changes is with the day two. This is a little pinch off, it's a cold little core in the upper levels. When you get something like that drops down, you get the daytime heating with it, you can get some isolated severe thunderstorms, usually some gusty winds and some pockets of hail. That's usually the main threat in this kind of setup here. So we do have that slight risk that was upgraded from marginal. It's a little bit bigger area here, but basically coming in across Arkansas, coming into Mississippi and into parts of Alabama and extreme northwest Georgia. So we're talking Memphis, Nashville, Birmingham, Huntsville, Chattanooga, those areas that are on that slight risk here for tomorrow. The tornado risk with this is going to be pretty low, just running 2%. Again, you can't say absolute zero, but looking pretty slow. The bigger threat's going to be the wind threat there. Obviously, you see that there in the yellow, running about 15%, again, with those few isolated storms. And I'll show you that on the high-resolution model here in just a second, as well as the hail threat, okay, because of the cold core nature of the system. So we'll see another hail threat there, generally in the same area where those strong gusty winds are going to be as well. Now, as far as the day three outlook is concerned, what's ever left of that will be exiting off the eastern seaboard. You see a little slight marginal risk there just along the Carolina coast as we go into the upcoming Friday. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the excessive rainfall. Now going out to day three, we do have a heavy rain threat here up across portions of New England and into the mid-Atlantic there, stretching from Virginia, going up toward Massachusetts. So some brief heavy rains. That's probably the heaviest rains that I've seen over the next 7 days looking at the outlook there. So the hazard outlook is highlighting that pocket there of some heavy rains there across portions of the Northeast. Again, we're watching all these rivers start to come down a little bit and a little gusty winds out here across portions of Wyoming, Colorado, into portions of the plains as well here going over the next 3 to 7 days. So we're going to take a look at the latest model data here. Again, watching the 500 millibar level here as we're kind of watching these jet flow. That's kind of becoming a little complicated, as I said. We've got these little pinch offs that are coming out. This little digging trough right here. This is what's responsible for our bringing us that severe weather threat here. You see this kind of pulling down in here. We're getting a kind of a cutoff a low feature that's going to be going into this. In fact, we got multiple ones of these things kind of showing up. So there's that cutoff low here. You see that one kind of setting up right through here, and that'll kick on out. And then we're going to see a few more of these kick up. And these upper level lows, they can really be, you get too many of them in one spot that really cause the flow to kind of be a little complicated. So here's another one here. Here's another one here. You got one up here, up across Canada still. You got one off the west coast. So you're getting the gist. You're seeing all these these features. So they're all kind of all over the place. And it does make the jet stream basically not be consistent from run to run. So it's a little complicated here with the flow. That fades off. Here's another upper level coming off. This one was looking like one we might see some severe as we were heading toward the 20th, 21st. Looks like it backs off a little bit on that here on this update for today. It kind of gets stuck there across the Baja California going in toward the 19th. It's not getting kicked off there, so it's still stuck there. See another little shot of cold air coming down here as we head toward the 18th and 19th, coming across the eastern portion of the United States. And again, then it looks like that low kicks up into Texas as we head toward the 22nd. That may bring a few thunderstorms, but right now that doesn't look overly bad. We'll have to watch that a little bit later, and the flow gets kind of absorbed into the flow. But again, a very complicated flow. Here's another low here. Here's a big upper low here off the coast of Alaska. So again, we'll have to watch this very closely. My guess is when you get this kind of pattern setting up, it means that your model consistency is just not going to be there, especially I think beyond about, say, 5 to 7 days. So just prepare for changes as we update you here on these. Let's go ahead and focus here on the short-term forecast. What we're going to be watching again is that cold pocket that's going to make its way down and setting off these thunderstorms here across this area. So watch that timestamp there in the upper right-hand corner as I take you through this. Again, you're seeing those little rain and thunderstorms there for today, going in there from maybe portions of Indiana, Illinois. Not looking too bad there. But then as this cold core dips down, and this is the cold core here, what's left of it kind of low here, diving into that down to the south. When we get that daytime heating late in the day on Thursday and going into Friday, we're going to see some thunderstorms erupt with this. Here it goes, boom. So kind of rotating down, boom, you're seeing that. So what this will produce is some isolated severe thunderstorms with some hailers with it, little cold core in with this, and some gusty winds as this moves on in. So Alabama, obviously under the gun there with slight risk, and maybe getting into parts of Georgia. This sinks off down to the south as we head till after 2 o'clock in the morning there on Friday. So that's our window to watch here as we go into the evening hours there on Thursday, and we'll see those pockets of severe weather there across Alabama and Georgia, and maybe a little bit of Tennessee and Kentucky. But that's where the cold core will be at its best, with that slight risk was showing up there from the Storm Predictions Day 2. All right, let's go look at this. Beyond this, we will again picking up from the European from this day forward. And we'll tell you this, come on out, and we're going to get this little rain coming up. We got a nice little snow burst here across portions of Pennsylvania and New York. I'm going to show you the snow totals on that, especially the higher elevations. Might get a little surprise, little snow in there going into this upcoming Friday and Saturday. And that moves on off. And then as we go into next week, not looking bad. You got another cold shot, though, here. As you can see, that 540 line, that freezing line coming down here once again. So we got another cold shot coming across the Great Lakes and into the Northeast once again. Pretty mild out here in the west, not too bad. Staying pretty quiet out there going into the Wednesday, the 16th of next week. And then it pulls on off, and then we got another storm system here, another cold shot coming down here once again, coming in across the Great Lakes. So unseasonably cool, and these cool shots will continue across the Great Lakes and into the Northeast. And it looks like we get some rains and then maybe a few thunderstorms here going into Saturday the 19th. Right now, that does not appear to be severe, but I'll watch it closely as this goes on. Again, beyond 7 days, and this is 10 days out, again, like I explained, it's going to be a change from run to run, definitely on this right now. And it looks like we're just in store for these little disturbances coming down. Here's that upper level low finally kicks on out here out of Texas. This maybe kick off a slight risk for severe weather. We'll watch it closely going toward the 21st. But this kind of kicks on out and moves on to the Midwest and into the Southeast going in toward the 23rd. So again, that's the long range trend. We'll have to watch that upper low. That's been pretty consistent there on the runs, but those get delayed. They change from run to run. It's definitely not been consistent. It's been consistent. We've been seeing it getting pinched off, but as far as when does it kick out, a little bit of a question mark on that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at your precipitation. Not going to see a ton of this over the next 7 days, that's for sure. I'm going to take you out to 180 here first for the next 7 day total. Again, we got that little pocket of some heavier rains here up across the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, but most of the country pretty dry. Even the Northwest not looking too bad here over the next 7 days. And going out to 10 days, not really adding a whole lot there to it. A little bit there across the Midwest. You notice even when those thunderstorms were getting across the Southeast with those hailers and individual storms, not dumping a whole lot of rain with those. Just not high moisture content, just some heavy winds, maybe some hail and some rain, but not a whole lot of it. And then the rain picks up as the upper low kicks out. Boom, there it comes right there. That, again, if it ever does, after the 19th, it kicks on out, and then we see the rains pick up here across the eastern half of the United States. But until then, it looks like precipitation for the most part is going to be running a little bit below normal. All right, let's look at the snow. We do have some snow to talk about, specifically going into this upcoming Friday and Saturday. I'll take this all the way out to the end of its run, so you kind of see not a whole lot there. But this is coming in for this upcoming weekend. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's go a little bit closer here. We'll go into the northeast. Let me clear that out real quick. And we'll take a look at that. And again, nice little pocket, nice little snowstorm here. Some of the higher elevations, maybe getting up over 6 inches there across portions of Pennsylvania and getting into the southern part of New York State. So that'll stay away from the big cities, but anywhere from Maryland up in the mountains, West Virginia, and stretching all the way up into this area. So a little snowstorm coming in for this upcoming Thursday and Friday. I'll back this up real quick so you can kind of see the time frame on this. So again, kind of starting there late in the day on Friday, going into Friday night and Saturday. So it looks like that'll be a Friday night and a Saturday morning. That's when we'll expect that snow to kind of come in there across portions of Pennsylvania and into New York. I know folks are getting very tired of that, but it is what it is. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the temperature anomaly map here. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at is the blues and greens are your below normal temperatures. Obviously, the reds and oranges are your above normal temperatures here. And we're going to be tracking the cold shots that are coming in here. So we got the below normal temperatures here in the east coming in for this upcoming weekend. Brief moderation and then another cold shot. So we got at least two. That's the second one. Still relatively mild out here in the west, but colder here out in the east as we go into this upcoming weekend and going into our next week. We got two shots. So you got the one shot there, and then here comes the second one that comes in, and then looks like we see a third going in toward the 19th and 20th there, kind of coming across the eastern third of the United States. Looks like the warmest day here will be out toward the west here, is out toward the 20th and 21st. So you see kind of bright reds in here and oranges. That's indication of the above normal temperatures out in the west, and relatively cool out in the east. And as I take this out to the end of this run, this kind of looks like averaging out to be like near normal for most of the country, a little bit above, a little bit below, but kind of near average as we head toward the 23rd and in toward the 24th. So let's go ahead and tie this thing up. Let's look at the Climate Prediction Center, and we'll see what it's showing here as far as its outlook. So the 6 to 10 day outlook, look at what I'm seeing there on the long range. This looks like this matches up pretty well. Below normal here across the Great Lakes and into the northeast, above normal out here in the west. Going a little bit deeper to the 16th to 22nd again, relatively the near normal or a little bit below normal here in the east, above normal here out in the west. That seems to line up pretty well what we're showing there on the European going out toward the 22nd of April. Precipitation-wise, it looks like a fairly dry pattern, especially for the next 7 days. Picks up a little bit beyond that, but below normal here in the southeast and out here on the west coast, above normal pocket there across portions of Texas. Picks up a little bit going into the 16th to the 22nd. And again, that's in anticipation of this upper low feature kind of kicking out. You saw the precipitation kind of picking up there across the eastern half of the United States, but staying below normal out here on the west coast. So the thing we're going to watch here for this week, obviously, is that little pocket, that little upper level disturbance that's going to be upper low feature that's going to be setting up that severe weather kind of coming into the southeast Alabama. Again, we're talking about isolated severe little pockets of some gusty winds and a few hailers with this, but the tornado threat's pretty low, and not even going to expect a lot of heavy rain with this. Maybe brief heavy rain, and then it hits and gone. So not too big a deal. And then we got some cold shots to watch, but for the most part, the severe weather pause is in effect. We don't have any major storm systems that's going to be setting off anything like we saw the first week of April. So that good news trend will continue. Again, I don't really anticipate the severe weather kind of picking up until maybe after the 20th of April, kind of going into that last week of the month to see how things begin to pick on up. All right, that's y'all's update for now. Again, if you'd like to become a subscriber on this channel and get these reports on a regular basis, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And if you appreciate what you see, leave me a comment. And if you've got a weather question, you can always post those down below as well. All right, that's y'all's update here on your Wednesday, your hump day. Hope you have a great day. Be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.